Welcome to the laboratory. This is where all the magic happens. I'm gonna take you guys around, kind of show you some of the different tools that we use on a daily basis to make tiny houses and make parts for trailers too. Right here beside me, this is a HD plasma table. We cut parts that we draw them upstairs in the design department, bring them down here on a thumb drive, put them into the computer and burn them out of steel plates on this machine. It's all kind of start to finish grassroots here inside these walls. The next thing that we do that people know us for, cold form steel framing. This CFS machine is kind of like a big gutter machine on steroids is the best way I describe it. It cuts steel coils. Come on back here, I'm gonna show you. It takes a coil of sheet metal in a certain thickness. We put it into this machine that helps it unroll and feeds it into this machine, which then turns it, bends it, punches it, drills it, and kicks it out the other end, puts our holes in both sides so we know where to put screws. This is for all your utility chases. They put those every 2 feet on the vertical studs. And every stud, this is a piece of scrap that we use to calibrate the machine between jobs, but every stick, no matter where it goes in the house, will get a label. It'll tell you what panel it's on, what stick it is, and the drawing is where you locate it. So it's kind of like paint by number. It's about as easy as you can frame a house. Let's talk for a little bit about how the trailer is built. Raw steel, we bring it in 40-foot lengths of all different types of materials. It rolls in here to our automatic saw. So we can cut about 3 or 4 trailers a day. Every piece that needs to get cut to build one of those big honking dudes over there, we can do that in about 1.5 hours to 2 hours on this kind of equipment. Once it's cut, the technician will take it by a forklift or some kind of a moving tool and bring it over here and put it on our production rack in order of which is to be built next. They come over, pick it up, and they move it over to a welding bay. Then they start building it by hand from scratch. This is kind of our standard 10-foot wide tiny house foundation. We're known for this. Everybody in the country kind of knows trailer made for this particular product. It's all tube steel. It's all welded by a AWS code certified structural welder. Has a lifetime warranty on it. It has an engineered stamp. So a structural engineer has approved this to be a foundation for a house. And that is a very, very different animal entirely than a trailer. It's not a car hauler, it's not an equipment trailer. These are very different things. They handle the load differently. This is where the house puts all of its weight, not in here. If I put pallets or cargo or a vehicle or something like that, I build the middle of this trailer differently for that purpose. Trailer Made builds and has always built a very purpose-built tiny house foundation that you can put wheels on and move around the country. After the trailer's done being built, the guys take it outside, they do a phosphoric acid wash to kind of get all the contaminants off the metal, and then it goes into our paint shop. And in the paint shop, it gets 2 different layers of corrosion protection. It gets a base layer of an epoxy primer, which is a 2-part epoxy spray on. It gets really hard quickly. It's kind of like powder coating, I guess you could say, but it doesn't chip off like powder does. It's not as hard. And then we put a urethane catalyzed top coat over it. And I brushed a little of that off so you can kind of see the sheen of this. This is a remarkable paint system from Henson Coatings. We've used this for 10 years and I'll never change. If you scuff it up or something like that, we include a touch-up kit of the factory paint that goes with the trailer so that it's touched up with the same stuff that it's protected with, so your corrosion warranty stays in place. And it just, all of those little things enhance the ownership experience. I was 5 or 6 years old. I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house, and one day I found a Sears and Roebuck catalog in the basement from the 1930s or 40s, and I was flipping through the pages, and there was a section in the catalog called the Craftsman Home Kits. They were basically a mail order house in all the pieces. And at 5 or 6 years old, my brain was broken that you could order all the parts of a house and have it dropped off right there where you're gonna build it. And in that moment, I knew that's what I was gonna do. It was just absolute. That's how I'm gonna build houses. Once the trailer is built and comes out of the paint shop, if we're gonna build the house on it for the client, the next thing that we would do is fill up the belly with spray foam insulation. So we put a 6-inch fill in the belly of that. It's got a steel belly pan all the way from front to back. After we put that spray foam in, we install sill seal over the top of the steel so that it won't sweat up into the wooden subfloor. That wooden subfloor we use and have used since 2015 is Advantech. That's a Huber wood product. They're the same guys that make your green and red zip board. And I've used it for 10 years like religion. It's so good. The floor walks and performs and feels like a home on a foundation. We put 10 ply or 14 ply, 16-inch rims and tires on that to meet the load requirements of each build. We have a heavier load spring. The springs that we use on our axles, we actually special order those from our axle vendors. They put a heavier spring on that axle for us so that we don't bottom out or top out once we've loaded this thing. That keeps windows and china in the cabinet, things that, maybe not travel so well, keeps those safe and keeps them from arriving busted when you get to your next destination. The trailers are more or less already pre-built, pre-engineered, and pre-designed, but sometimes we have to make a few tweaks to the secret sauce to make it fit a custom project. This one is one of those in particular. Normally this would be a 3-axle build, but because of the size and the complexity of it, and it's for a family of 5. So there's gonna be a lot of weight in this house often. So we did make the decision to go ahead and make this a 4-axle, 28,000 pound rated trailer, as opposed to like our normal 3-axle, 21 to 24,000 pounders. We build alongside the client. So if a client comes to us and says, I just want the pieces and the parts, you guys do all the math and get it all ready for me, and then I'll take it home and put it together. We are gonna be your biggest champions and cheer for you all the way to the finish line. But the first things first, we're gonna give you the jumping off place to have a successful build project. A lot of people take advantage of us doing things they don't want to fool with or don't know how to mess with. The electrical, the plumbing, the framing, the foundation, maybe putting in the windows and the doors and getting it weathered in so that it's not gonna leak. A lot of people aren't confident or don't want to learn that job on the fly and then find out in a rainstorm that they got it wrong somewhere. So oftentimes people can take this sort of a la carte approach to how much of their house they want to build themselves and how much of it they want to hand off to the tiny house experts. Let's go in this thing as soon as I figure out how. So when asked to have different layouts and floor plans, that's one of the cool things about TrailerMade and the tiny house experts. We do whatever your mind's eye asks us to do. They said, I want a living room, I have to have 2 bedrooms downstairs, and I want the master upstairs. This is a 3-bedroom tiny house. Bathrooms up there, bed 1, bed 2, master bedroom upstairs. So mom and dad get some privacy. The little kiddos are in a loft up and over the bathroom on the front end. And we still have 2 rooms separated here. And this one is being built as an RV to this one's being built to an RV code. So NOAA is doing the inspection process on this. We'll get it to a place where we call in a NOAA inspector. They'll set a video call with us. We'll walk around and show them the boxes, show them how much is sticking out, show them all of our insulators to make sure the wires aren't being cut into by steel studs. So these are little things that are different between wood and steel. We don't know any different because we don't build with wood. So this is just our normal day job. But for anybody that wants to build with steel because of its obvious advantages in this particular application, we're here to help you with that. We are the pros at this stuff. We know how it all works. We'll get you unstuck if you find yourself mired down on your own project. All 4 corners of our tiny house foundations get stabilizing jacks. Common misconception, and this is something important for everybody to pay attention to. I don't care who the manufacturer is. This is not a leveling jack. This is for fine tuning and adjusting after you get the wheels and the tongue jack pretty level. Make sure your pad is level where you're gonna put the house. If you need to level the whole home first, do it by putting shims or chocks or something like that under the tires. Get the house level that way first before you deploy these. These are just kind of to put it there and make sure that it doesn't rock around while you're in it living. So please don't lift the tiny house with these jacks. They're not made for that. But they do get them on all four corners. Plus we got 8 wheels and tires touching the ground. You got a big 12,000 pound or more jack up here on the front of the tongue to support the load of the house on multiple different points when it's sitting and people are living in and out of it. Now, when considering that tiny houses move down a highway at 50, 60, 70 miles an hour plus, not only do you have headwinds sometimes, but you also have debris. You have potential damage to the front leading edge of a tiny home. We've seen some that suffer damage from being moved because they weren't built to a code that, maybe sustain 100-mile-an-hour wind. If it's blowing 30 this way and you're going 70 that way, 70 plus 30 is 100 miles an hour. So when you get up into those triple-digit wind speeds, when you're towing a house down a highway, you need extra structure to make sure that it's not going to rack or twist or cause any long-term damage over time that can accumulate. So if the front of the house is getting that shear against it, we put extra sheet metal bracing over the studs. So we have vertical studs behind this, and then we've connected this piece of sheet metal to sort of tie those in together like a tie plate. And we've got them here, and we've got them here, all on the leading edge around the front of this house, because this thing is gonna weigh north of 20,000 pounds before you get it wet and you put people in it. And it's big, it's not aerodynamic, and it's going to move a lot. So we have to make sure that the front of this house is up to the task of surviving 120 plus mile an hour winds to the face for hours and hours and hours on end. So this is what it would look like if we were gonna build this in a Hurricane Alley climate zone down in Florida, the Carolinas, if you're in Asheville or something like that. This is the care that we're gonna take on your house to make sure that it's up to the task of living where you live. I find myself here, 45 years later, basically doing the exact same thing that Sears was. We get to blend 21st century modern manufacturing practices and technology to make the process more efficient and more accessible to a wider range of would-be do-it-yourselfers. 100 years ago, we built our own homes, and we considered that a very strong foundational sense of pride for our family. Kids grew up, this was the house my grandfather built with his own 2 hands. And here we are in 2025, and I'm kind of leading the charge to bring us back to that. We've had a lifetime warranty on our foundations. So anything that we cut apart and put back together into that foundation has a lifetime guarantee against our work, unless it's not due to a collision or a natural disaster. Natalie and I, we run this place like our home, because it is. It's our home when we're not at our other home. These are our family members that work with us, so we recognize that they have lives, they have moods, they have children, they have things that take their time and their attention away from their job sometimes. And we have a very family affirmative approach to that because we're a family. We treat you like you're a family member. Even if that means sometimes we have to have the tough conversation and talk you out of your great idea, because maybe that doesn't work. We're gonna be your advocate and your protector, but your advisor and just, a really close cousin, and we have over 10,000 cousins in the tiny house industry now that either have my cell phone or call this office, and whoever picks up the phone can answer their questions about whatever. That's the family aspect of it. Why wouldn't you treat your clients that help take care of your family and the families that work for you? Why wouldn't you treat them the same way? I'm so blessed to just have such a cool circle of people to hang out with and talk to every day, and be able to make a living coming to work and talking to all my friends. That's really what it boils down to. hanging out, talking tiny house with cool people. It's so fun.